Welcome to a recap video of the Kaggle tournament between some of the best LLMs out there as they attempt to take on the world of chess. We found ourselves in a final between Grok 4 and O3, and we're going to be recapping the final game of that match with a slightly one-sided scoreline up to that point. Magnus, break down how the final played out up to then.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. O3 is leading 3-0. Grok has barely made it out of the opening in any games. It seems to sometimes try and improvise where it shouldn't, and it makes good moves, and then it follows it up by making what are decent chess moves just at completely the wrong time. So let's see. We got the last game. The match is decided, of course, but we're playing for more than that. We're playing for history. We're playing for science. We're playing for the human race.
Exactly. Science-driven experiment where we all win by learning more. And game 4 started with E4, a Sicilian. O3 playing white, Grok 4 playing black.
We saw games in the spirit of Fischer and Kasparov. We saw E4, best by test, as Fischer said, and both of them famously played the Knight of Sicilian as black, which we saw a ton of in this match.
Yeah, with both colors, both LLMs playing the Sicilian Knight off and Bishop G5, the most aggressive move available to white.
Yeah.
Okay, and Grok 4 reacts very well.
I would say that essentially what you can say in the Najdorf is that when black sets up with e6, the knight on f6 is a very, very strong piece that it exerts pressure on the center. So basically, everything kind of boils down to two ideas for white. It's either you want to play e5 and kick the knight away and decrease the influence in the center, or you want to play g4, g5. And the way you're setting up with white now is generally as aggressive as possible, pushing pawns, and you're keeping both options open. So that's a little bit of a 101 in the opening here.
Yes.
But yeah, so far we have all normal opening moves, and we saw in an earlier game that Grok went for the poison pawn line with queen b6 early on and lost pretty badly, not necessarily because of the opening, but because it doesn't really know how to play chess. But here it is doing everything very well, and this is one of the better lines that black can play against the bishop g5 system.
And meanwhile, it looks like the first big moment of the game as O3 reasoned itself towards playing the move E5, which looks a bit premature.
It does. This seems to be clear premature attaculation here. I don't mind it, though, since it's a typical attacking idea. It sees the theme of attacking the rook. And if we think of these LLMs as fairly new chess players, you want to encourage good ideas and that it sort of grasps concepts. And the fact that it is a really bad move because of bishop b7, I wouldn't be too sad about that. I am, however, impressed with Grok finding it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bishop b7, maybe it had read about this, maybe it kind of reasoned its way to bishop b7 attacking the white queen and the rook behind it, a bit of a skewer. And O3 up to this point in the first three games of the final had been flawless. No one move blunders, no big questionable decisions. But check this out, bishop g2.
Yeah, that's a bit of a doozy. Yeah, I don't hate it because you keep pressure on the diagonal. A lot of things are happening, but yeah, you gotta take better care of the lady than that.
You gotta be a gentleman. Yeah, the queen does drop. Actually, we were running a poll in the chat when we were calling the shots live, and we were kind of predicting when Grok 4 would lose its queen, but it was O3 to lose the queen first, but not over.
Yeah,
it's a double attack. hitting 2 pieces. Grok moves the knight. A bit questionable there.
Yeah, but again, I don't mind this move at all. It has a logical reasoning behind it. Doesn't necessarily work tactically, but completely reasonable move. It grasps that the rook is attacked and the knight is attacked, and it's defending against both threats at once. So don't mind that at all.
Okay, and the knight was captured. We saw a few pieces being taken, and here it is a check.
Yeah, this is a big moment, of course. Even for humans, king takes d6 looks a little bit dangerous at first because the king is in the middle, and even though white doesn't have a queen, white still has a lot of dangerous attacking pieces. But the alternative is losing the queen at once. So you kind of have to default to it. But here, Grok, after playing a fantastic game so far, makes a big mistake.
Yeah, goes from winning to losing in one move. King takes pawn would have been the way forward, but instead queen takes, walks into a knight fork. Then we see the eval bar on the top of your screens slide as well. Great spot from 0-3.
Yeah.
But on the next move, maybe he could have kind of hammered home the advantage even further.
Yeah, moving either rook to e1 here would have won material, and of course you want to bring the rook that's in the corner, and black is going to lose a lot of pieces there. It's basically, I think you end up like not just a minor piece down, like you're losing the queen for nothing, and there's a continuing attack and initiative. So that's really, really bad. I won't be too harsh, though. This is a relatively difficult concept to grasp, the in-between check. Like that usually takes quite a bit of time to develop for most players. And they're also not given infinite time to think, right? I think with a couple of prompts, 0-3 could have definitely come to the conclusion that, well, there's a stronger move here. And I mean, I'm sure that can be tested, of course. But yeah, I don't particularly mind it. I love the fact that Grok moved the king up to defend the queen still. So yeah, I think this was decently well played.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's actually a very human decision now by 0-3 to just take the queen. Like, I think most humans...
You might even pre-move it, right?
You might even pre-move it, exactly. Beginners, even amateurs, club players, like, you see a queen, you take a queen, right? That's just how we're programmed. Just what we're taught from a young age. So I don't blame 0-3 at all. But this does allow Grok to somewhat escape, limit the damage. We saw a pawn drop with a check. Now some small tactics from 0-3, who is up 1 pawn.
Yeah. I love it. Like, it's not the best move, of course, but it sees the tactical sequence. It wants to simplify the position with a pawn up, so I don't mind that at all.
Okay.
And now we got a very interesting endgame. Like, if you put the white pawns on the king side back a little bit, move those pawns from f2 back to f2, g2, then you're more kind of thinking that this is a relatively simple conversion. You put the rook on d4, probably bring the king in, and then start creating a pass pawn on the queen side by exchanging and attacking pawns over there. But with the white pawns being attacked, there's more of a chance of black activating the rook and or even the king sometimes and getting some counterplay. So I love the fact that normally you would think maybe king c6 is a better square, keeping the king on the side where it's trying to stop the white pawns, but I actually like the idea of going over on the other side as well. And it shows again that Grok is really willing to use its king aggressively.
And if we just follow a few moves down the line, the king going forward, something you like. Again, Magnus, and
A great move as well.
Great move.
I don't mind king g6 that much. We were commentating live at this point as well, and I mentioned the idea of black playing f6 and kicking the rook away, trying to get some h5 going, activating pieces over there. So don't mind that at all. And then f5. For those who are watching, it's generally a conceptual mistake because you're forcing the king to go forward, and as white, you generally want to contain the king, keep control, and then push home the pawn on the other side. But this made the game super interesting, so I don't mind.
Yeah, and here, okay, maybe it becomes something similar, but Grok could have come forward towards the white pawns, instead slides across.
It attacks the rook. It creates the create a threat, and then it actually moves forward. So don't mind that at all. Good endgame play.
Yeah, very good endgame play by Grok, hitting a pawn, and probably a necessary move, admitting that f5 was a mistake. O3 decides, okay, got to force the black king back, gives up a pawn.
I honestly think O3 didn't see that the pawn could be captured, but seeing the idea of a discovered check and attacking the pawn on g7, it's a very good find.
Yeah, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, O3, and believe that it just wanted to drive the black king away.
Regardless, it's a good move.
Okay, good moves all around.
Yeah.
The black king takes a pawn, so level material for the first time in ages.
Level material, but clear imbalance on the board.
And A4, pretty cool move as well.
Yeah, very cool move.
Yeah.
Offering up a pawn, but splitting the black pawns, which will be easy to... It will be easy to recapture one of them, and you're also opening up the way for the c pawn, which is now a pass pawn. You know, an in-between check, getting the king away. Love it.
Yeah, very impressive. And now the king goes back. Maybe a first sign that Grok is a bit indecisive.
It's all right. It's you know, biding its time, thinking of going back the other way. And now it also tricked O3 into advancing its pawns, and now the king is sitting pretty.
Yeah, so the pawns come, the king steps forward.
Yep.
Defended.
H6, great move.
Classy stuff. I mean, this phase of the game feels so well played, actually, from both. Like, it's a bit deceptive knowing what comes later, but...
No, this has been an excellent game so far.
Yeah. And Grok, fair play, dropping the king back as well.
Yeah.
And also fair play to O3, spotting this next move. It's a cool idea. We saw the eval bar shift, not objectively correct, but a nice concept.
Yeah, don't mind it at all.
Luring the black king away, which takes a pawn.
Both players are showing both endgame understanding and tactical awareness.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I've seen tournament games way worse than this. Very nice play just this last phase. But here it starts going maybe slightly wrong for Grok.
Yeah, I think it was a difficult concept to grasp here, to protect the pawn and then get the other pawn and get them moving. This is not easy.
Mm-hmm. So rook g8 here probably would have been a winning move. Black gets two connected passed pawns, and they're going to run very fast down the board. Instead, Grok trades one of them off. We see the eval bar slide back to the center.
Yeah.
A capture rook slide. You praised this move in the commentary.
Yeah, I like the idea of keeping the king a little bit more active and recapturing with the rook, but unfortunately it follows it up quite poorly.
Yeah.
So here I would have loved to see a pawn push. The white king would probably have to step over to catch it in time, but then then we can go get the g7 pawn. White will win a6, but it will be a fairly close race still.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this is where the game really turns one final time. After the king steps back, the white rook slides across.
Rook a7 is great.
Yeah.
Rook a6. Yeah, you don't want to play passively.
Yeah.
But I still don't mind it too much, because it is clearing the way for the pawn to move, so the king cannot get checked. Yeah. But here we've seen a lot of good moves, some suboptimal moves, but now we're getting to the point where sometimes you can look at games, think that these are good players, right? And now the next little sequence just feels like a relatively weak, panicky player in time trouble.
We've all been there. We've all.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't know what to do. Let me give a check. But I still think if you push the pawn here, it's a very interesting race. Yes, white is objectively winning, but that may not always happen, you know, at this level. But the rook check just puts the white king in a better spot than the black rook in a worse spot. And now black tries to correct the mistake by going back, but in a pawn race like this, you don't have time for that. Then to O3's credit, it both went to this side with the king, so the black rook could not step behind the pawn, and it also pushed the pawn as soon as possible. So all praise to that.
Yeah, Grok tries to stop the pawn. The pawn continues advancing, and I guess Grok just forgets about the h-pawn, but here it's too late anyway. White's other pawn, the c-pawn, is going to connect to the b-pawn, and this is going to be decisive either way. But Grok kind of falls on its sword here. And yeah, here we go. Rook takes b6.
Yeah, this can only be explained by a little bit of tilt, a little bit of maybe hoping that O3 had pre-moved a king move or something like this. Yeah, I would like to know the thought process here. Maybe it forgot that the white rook was an a6 or something like that, because it seems that, well, these are the best ones, especially the weaker ones, had problems at times knowing where the pieces are. These generally do, but maybe they need a little bit of thinking time sometimes.
Yeah, there were no issues with legal moves, no issues with knowing where the pieces were, but occasionally maybe Grok a bit hasty.
Yeah.
And here we go, the closing stages, the black rook gone, and no chance now. Very impressive conversion by O3. Makes a new queen, and you mentioned it, the ladder checkmate in the commentary.
Yeah, that's one of the first checkmates you learn, and Grok executes it perfectly, showing very well that it understands checkmating patterns, and it can see the board very, very well. I could see when we were watching the game that it had some thoughts about, well, I can go check, take the pawns, and so on, but it decided just to go for the immediate checkmate, which it found perfectly. So overall, I'm impressed with this with this game. Obviously, we're not super far in the development, but these are not engines that are made for playing chess. This is AI that's these are models that are just guessing the next moves, not the next moves, but the next words. And the fact that they're even able to play somewhat decent legal chess at all, I think it's pretty cool.
LLMs, large language masters. And yeah, very impressive. What are your main takeaways? If there was one thing that kind of caught your attention from this first Kaggle tournament?
It's exactly that. It's just fascinating to follow the progress of the different models, and I'm sure the next time this happens, we're going to see something different. But obviously, the mistakes and the reasons for the mistakes have both instructional and comedic value as well, which makes it fun to follow. But you look at it almost as a teacher, right? I think especially developers, but also us as chess fans, like we're a little bit proud when we see the ideas they have. It's like, oh yeah, I see why you did that. That was a good idea, even if it may not have been good at that time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the perfect note to leave it on, I think, Magnus. We have to say thank you to Kaggle for organizing the tournament. It's been a pleasure to commentate alongside you. And yeah, I hope everyone at home has enjoyed and learned in the process. So from David Howe, from Magnus Carlsen, from Take, thank you very much. Remember to like, subscribe, go download the app, and we'll be back soon with more content. Yeah, bye for now.
Thank you.